If we take a look at the fetus inside the mother's womb, we will find it inside a sac filled with a large amount of fluid, as if the fetus is inside a closed swimming pool and the water surrounds it from all sides. This raises the question of how the fetus breathes inside the mother's womb without a tube entering his mouth or his nose to provide oxygen. The only connection it has is the umbilical cord, but it's attached to his abdomen and not his nose or his mouth. Hi, I hope you're doing well. I am Lautzi, and here we can talk about anything, literally anything. Before we start discussing the topic of oxygen and how the fetus breathes, let's address the following question. Why the fetus is located inside this fluid-filled sac in the mother's womb? The sac in which the fetus is located is called the amniotic sac, and it's very strong and protects the fetus during the growth process. Inside the sac, there is amniotic fluid, which varies during pregnancy between 600 to 800 milliliters. Without this fluid, the process of fetal growth will remain very complicated because it provides the fetus with an ideal environment for living. It allows the fetus to move without restrictions, which ensures proper growth of muscles and bones without deformities. Additionally, it contains nutrients such as protein, antibodies, and other necessary components that the fetus needs during the growth process. It also regulates the fetal temperature. Now, let's discuss the topic of respiration. The fetal lungs begin to develop during the early stages of pregnancy, and their growth is almost complete between the 24 and 36 weeks. The air sacs in the lungs start to form and remain ready for function. So, does the fetus actually breathe from his lungs during this period? As we mentioned, the fetus is inside the amniotic fluid, so the lungs and the entire respiratory system are immersed in water. This means they don't have a role during this stage. Does this mean that the fetus doesn't breathe while in the mother's womb? Of course not. The fetus breathes because he needs oxygen to complete his growth, but he breathes through a different pathway, which is the umbilical cord and the placenta. This complement deliver nutrients as well as oxygen to the fetus. To understand the process, respiration is the mixing of the oxygenated blood with oxygen gas inside the lungs, which then transforms into oxygenated blood. Afterward, the oxygenated blood returns to the heart and it's distributed to the body's cells for their use. If we understand this point, we will realize that all the fetus needs is to receive oxygenated blood by any means. Based on this, the mother's body sends a quantity of oxygenated blood to the placenta, which then transfers it to the umbilical cord, and from there to the fetus body without the need for lung respiration. The same process occurs with the oxygenated blood. It exits the fetus body through the umbilical cord and transfers to the mother's body to enter his circulatory system until it's expelled as exhalation. This way, the fetus breathes while in the mother's womb. Just a note, when the fetus emerges into the world, it's better for him to cry a lot because the lungs are filled with fluids and crying helps to expel them and introduce a significant amount of oxygen into the baby's lungs.